Welcome to Season 4 of Outstanding Women Leaders, Witty and Wise Conversations. I'm your host, Katie L. Leeds, founder and chief owl at Outstanding Women Leaders, Owl Professional Coaching and Podcast, an organization dedicated to empowering women in leadership, relationships, and life. Owl is on a mission to host 100 million witty and wise conversations that inspire you, disrupt the way you think, and stir your soul into action. That inspiration today begins with a set of rules to guide our conversation. Rule number 1, nobody gets to be wrong. Rule number 2, nobody gets to be right. Rule number 3, everybody gets to be vulnerable. And my favorite, rule number 4, everything is included. We do not edit here. This conversation is exactly what it needs to be in this moment in time. We've asked our guests to join us via video to allow us to create authentic connection. Eyes are the window to the soul. You will be seen here. You'll be heard. There is space for you. When this conversation comes to a close, I will ask our guest 3 questions. You've tuned in before, you know what they are. If you haven't, you don't want to miss them. But enough about me. Today, I am excited to welcome outstanding woman leader, Karen Gourley. Nailed it. Karen grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and is a graduate of the University of Georgia, where she earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts, majoring in interior design. She spent a decade in the Atlanta corporate interiors world before her direction in life completely changed course. Chronic health issues began to manifest in her body, leading to years of doctors and specialists with no answers or relief. She finally decided to stop seeking help from a profession that only had another round of antibiotics to offer as a solution, followed her instincts instead. Her inner guidance led her to a plant-based diet. Once she transitioned to eating fully plant-based, all of her miserable chronic issues cleared up completely. She's decided to start helping others who are struggling and lost about plant-based eating and healing. She's founded Let's Get Clear, a company paving the way for plant-based to be simple and achievable for anyone. The best thing she has also done, welcome Karen, is put together a comprehensive nutrition package for vegans that is not based on like buying a Boca burger or whatever that stuff is, but like a really good plan. I want to start us off there because I think it's such a wise offering, and the way that you're going to change the world is going to start there. So go ahead and tell us all about it.
Wow, thank you for that. Yeah, so I have created a plant-based and gluten-free nutrition package to be, it's for more than just one person. It is for the individual who is trying to find your way through plant-based and you're completely lost and confused about it. That was me. I was completely lost and confused. I had no idea what to do. And if I had had a tool like this, I ended up hiring a coach. I may not have even needed a coach. So it's for that. It is also for doctors and nutritionists and coaches. So that's the whole reason why I designed it in the first place, is to be a tool for you to use with your clients and your patients. Because I had a girl come to me for help. This is how I got the idea to even create it in the first place, is she has a great relationship with her coach, and they were working on a plan for her for fitness and nutrition. And she is plant-based and gluten-free, but her coach is not. And so they were really struggling to make any sort of effective plan. So she had started doing a lot of research, and she could not find a comprehensive package like this. It's got everything. Like, this is what you eat. This is everything that I eat to thrive with plants. So I decided to create it. Yeah, so it is definitely for doctors and nutritionists and coaches if you want to incorporate more plant-based eating into your practice, into your professional medical practice, or in your coaching programs. Or if you've just seen the incredible results and you want to add it for that reason. And then it is also, lastly, for athletes. There's a huge community of athletes now that are thriving, and they're, getting stronger and having more mobility in their bodies through plant-based eating. So, yeah, the whole reason I went plant-based in the first place was for my health. I was, I'm sure we'll get into it. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
suffering with chronic illness. But yeah, so the nutrition package it's everything that I'm not holding back here. The only thing not included is one-on-one coaching with me. It's everything that I consume to thrive with plant-based. And I know that there's a need for it in the wellness community because there are so many people, discovering like I've had this chronic issue. Well, I stopped eating wheat, so it's a gluten allergy. Or like me, I was really suffering in my body from all these terrible digestive issues, and it all ended up being related to my digestion. Some things I had no idea were related. So I was suffering from stomach pain like every day. My stomach hurt every day. And I was go to the doctor, like, my stomach's hurting. I was broken out in hives. I was bloated. It seemed like for no reason whatsoever. My energy was down. I had acne. My skin was all broken out and terrible, like all the time. And so every time I would go, sometimes they would refer to me to a different kind of specialist. I saw an allergist. I saw an ear, nose, and throat specialist. Um, None of them asked me about my diet. None of them asked me about nutrition and what I was eating, even though I was suffering from all these stomach problems. Um, and if they had done that, I feel like it maybe would have made all the difference. Or if they had a resource or some kind of information about, hey, since all of these antibiotics that we keep prescribing you, that's every single time I went, they gave me an antibiotic. It's a quick scribble of the pen and off to the pharmacy. And sometimes I would get temporary relief, sometimes not. I had these swollen glands in my eyelids. That one was there for like 5 years. That one ended up being a gluten allergy. But it was painful, and it was just, I was sick of living with all the issues, and I was growing like very concerned after I was well over a year in, and they kept giving me antibiotics. So I was just getting really concerned about what kind of effect must this be having on like my immune system and all this. I was like, this just isn't sustainable. Like I would rather find a different way to live. So I felt just really pulled towards plant-based eating. Um, so I tried it by myself, and I had no idea what I was doing. I still didn't feel great. I was eating stuff out of the freezer section and, canned soup, and those things are okay to eat sometimes, but like that was all I was eating. I really didn't know what to do. Um, so the nutrition package really is to solve that problem for people. It's not one-on-one coaching. That's a different level of help to receive, but this is designed in a way where you can take it and really like achieve success with plant-based eating and in healing in your body.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
so
I always say is experimenting, right? Like the actions speak louder than the words. And part of where we go wrong when we dive into something like plant-based eating is maybe we're just eating a bunch of soy now, or maybe we're eating a bunch of this now. Maybe we're not getting quality. Like we ate this protein, but did it really bind and actually work for us? And you have like recipes even and some on things in this comprehensive package. Like it's just a one and done. Like now I can go out and eat like this and like tinker with it and make it work for me.
yes, yes, it is designed for you to be able for it to be make it simple and achievable. So there's a let's get started section, so you know exactly what to do on day one from the get-go. There's no more confusion. There's a whole section on protein and calcium and supplements, which supplements I take, the reasoning behind, taking each one. And I make it very clear also that it's not medical advice. Like if you're having medical conditions, like I was, um, this would be an incredible resource for you to take to your doctor if you wanted, whatever your specific conditions are. But supplements is included. And it's a common misconception in society that you can only get calcium from dairy. That's not true at all. I've got a section there with calcium-rich foods,
Ooh, I have a
and then
dairy
protein.
allergy. Can you share a little bit about calcium-rich foods for us folks that have a dairy allergy?
Yeah, yeah, I'd be happy to. Leafy greens are rich in calcium. Spinach is really high on the list. And a lot of seeds are very rich in calcium, as well as beans. I'm a big fan of seeds. I feel like if there is a superfood, I would say that seeds would be up there, if
All
not
right.
on the
For
very
people
top.
that eat Cheetos, what is a seed?
Okay. Seeds are sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, that you would sprinkle on top of your food or cook in your food. Flax seeds. It's similar to nuts.
Got it.
It's a very similar thing. They're usually smaller in size, but like it's very similar to that. So it's like very high in protein, just a very nutrient dense, nutrient rich, and they're often very high in calcium. And yeah, I would agree with you too about how when people don't know what to do, it's like I often get questions are like, "Oh, do you just eat like tofu every day, or how do you get everything?" And I definitely do not eat. I do not recommend that anybody do that. Eat tofu every day. That's not a good idea. Eat it sometimes, but yeah. So there's a section there specifically about calcium and protein and supplements because those are people are super lost, and that also is really helpful if you're an athlete too. If you're on a specific kind of plan and you need this many grams of protein, to reach your goals. So there's a section there about that, and then the largest section in it is breakfast ideas, lunch, snacks, dinners. There's a whole section on juice recipes and juicing. I'm a huge advocate for juicing. You guys, it is the fountain of youth. Juicing is incredible. It does incredible things for your body. It's like, if you take a high quality supplement, it's going to be derived from the things that I'm juicing. So you're getting like it's like the purest form, excuse me, like straight into your bloodstream. And yes, there's a whole section about juicing. Um, and I include tons of recipes, and I've done my best to explain what to do without video. And I don't measure things. So I'm giving you this is how I do it. This is exactly how I live. I do eat processed things, and I do eat, they're all in there. It's just not what I eat mostly. Like if somebody was purely on a healing diet, then I would say, maybe extremely limit the processed stuff and more whole foods. But there is a wealth of recipes in there to choose from. And also included is a meal planner. So that makes it, actually, it's right here. I can show you all the meal planner, just to make it really simple. So like, I don't know if it's showing up, but it's just, you could take from the section of breakfast and lunch and snacks and just fill it in for your whole week. It's got a grocery list section. I've really tried to make it, user friendly for everyone. And then the last section that's in there is my pantry and refrigerator items, like fresh foods, that I might have over a given year. So it's everything. So yeah, I've packaged it together to where I feel like it's very easy to follow, it's very easy to understand. The whole point is to eliminate confusion because I wish that I'd had this. Like if I'd had such a tool, it would have made all of the difference. So I'm really excited to offer it. And there's, I did my own research too before I created it. And as far as I know, there's not really anything else like that that's available that's comprehensive. And the whole thing is gluten free because I have a gluten allergy. But yeah, so I'm really excited about it.
That's so great. And tell us a little bit more about, the healing journey, not from we talked a little bit about the health conditions. Like, what are you doing in life when this is all going on? Are you working you're working your corporate job? Like, set the stage for us a little bit because we kind of we don't realize like how sick some people are while also showing up and performing at a really high level.
Yeah. And another big thing too is I did not look sick. So when I looked in the mirror, to me, I was just like, my God, my skin looks horrible. But that, if you see someone and they're struggling with their skin, you might not necessarily think they look like a sick person. Um, and I was like bloated and I had inflammation that was painful in my body. But yeah, outward appearance, I looked totally fine. I didn't complain. Um, I maybe had a lot of doctor's appointments. That might have been a clue. But yeah, so I was working in interior design in corporate design in Atlanta. And I just all these issues that they just seem to pop up. And when I look back at my life, I feel like becoming plant-based like fully maybe was a long time coming. I actually stopped eating beef a little over 10 years ago. And it's not because something happened. It's because y'all you're going to think this is hilarious, but this is the truth. And the same thing kind of happened with chicken and turkey, like birds also, is that I kind of just one day thought to myself, I've never in my life looked at a cow or a chicken or something like that and thought, you look so delicious. Like, I really want to kill you and eat you. Like, and it just something very logical kind of just clicked for me. And I didn't feel like sad or, I have zero judgment about what anybody else decides to eat at all. There's no judgment coming from here about any of that. But I just, it just something clicked and changed for me. So actually, for probably about 10 years, I completely stopped eating beef and never had it again. I had it once. I had a bite of somebody's filet and got like violently ill a couple of years after I hadn't had it anymore. So I never have any beef. But then it's with chicken and everything else, I kind of just evolved into a pescatarian diet, which is where you don't eat any, you still eat seafood and dairy and eggs and all that. So I had been doing that for a long time. So I was in the corporate world in my mid to late 30s, and I just started having all these issues. These glands in my eyelids would swell up. I'd have like a little knot in my eyelid, and it was just really painful. And then I would be sitting at my desk and start itching all over and just be like, I'm broken out in hives all over my body. Like, why? I had no idea what was going on. So I decided when I decided, like, I'm not going to the doctor anymore, unless I have, excuse me, like a sinus infection or something where I need antibiotics, like, I don't want to go for these chronic issues anymore. I feel very drawn to plant-based. I really just felt pulled pulled towards it. So I decided I'm going to try it. And I tried it and I had no idea what to do. Kind of how I was talking about, I was in the freezer section. Take a drink of water. Um, yeah. So I got tired of being lost about it, and I hired a plant-based health coach. And the universe brought her to me. She actually found me, and then everything changed. All of a sudden, I wasn't confused about what to do anymore, and I felt better, like almost instantly. Just even knowing what to do, because I could see her how she was living, and there was a group that she had that doesn't exist anymore, but it was a beautiful, wonderful group of more than 50 women, and we were all transitioning to plant-based. Everybody was at different levels in their transitioning into it, but as soon as I hired her, everything changed immediately. I'd say about within maybe 2 weeks or so in, I was like, wow, I'm really starting to feel different. And then a month in, I was like, I'm in this forever. I was like, I've never felt this good. Even before I started having random issues that popped up, yeah, it was just, I was astounded. And I grew up with terrible skin. Like, I don't know how clearly you can see my face. I have no foundation, no powder, no concealer on my naked 43-year-old face. And I'm extremely grateful for this. Dairy was a huge caveat. I know you say dairy allergy. For me, dairy was like, it's horrible bloating. It makes my stomach
Yes.
hurt, physical pain. I will
Yes.
gain like 7 or 8 pounds overnight, just
Yes.
inflamed. In my skin,
Yes.
it just, I mean, I don't want to say it was tragic. That sounds really dramatic, but it was for me. And
Oh
I
my
wonder if
gosh.
I had,
The
yeah.
cystic acne, it was so tragic. Also, I like to say that I have very similar to that skin, although I've been cheating with some milk chocolate, so my skin isn't as good as it should be. For me, it was I was 2 weeks off of dairy when I knew what it was like to not feel bloated. I knew what bloated period felt like, so I was like, oh yeah, that's like no, I was living a bloated life every single day. I had no idea. Same thing with I had terrible skin as a teenager. And they used to say like chocolate, like there's milk in chocolate, Hershey. It's like everyone is eating dark chocolate. This is what I love about experimenting and making ourselves the experts versus giving our power away and making other people with degrees that have never lived in our bodies the expert.
Yes. And and I do want to say about the doctors is that, you know, even though I was extremely frustrated with them, I do believe that they were doing the best that they could to help me with the resources that they had, which is another reason why I feel so strongly about getting this nutrition package and information in general, like, into their hands. whenever I figured out that the eye condition was, I was already into plant-based a little bit before I figured it out that it was wheat. When I would eat whole wheat pasta, my sinuses would swell up and I would get just really, I couldn't breathe. That was like having an allergic reaction, like a histamine reaction.
So my allergy
Um,
cleared up as well. And I also
oh, I bet.
I eliminated gluten at the same time. And when I moved to the East Coast, I don't know if you've ever had Brooklyn bread or like bagels, but um I kind of
Sounds amazing.
yeah, it's in the water. I just kind of well, part of it is I have found out I have a soy allergy. And so the gluten actually wasn't my problem. It was
Ah,
soy. And so if you're buying any bread in the store, like the majority of it is going to have some type of soy in it. And so if I'm like Cuban toast, like I did this experiment, like Cuban toast, I feel great when I have Cuban toast. Why? What are the Cubans doing? Well, the Cubans aren't putting soy and there doesn't need to be soy in there. Like that's not a necessity. So I've allowed myself to eat bread and actually find that I'm probably a little bit better off digestively because it offsets the protein if I allow myself to have more. It's just really hard to avoid soy.
it is. It is. And that's a common allergy.
Yeah.
Like it's really common for people to have an intolerance to soy. Yeah.
So, yeah.
When
So
I
I
went,
had
yeah.
health problems too, but unlike you, I didn't go to the doctor for help. And some of the, I was just like, I will live like this. And I think part of it is because it had been so long of my living. So my mom was like, what do you mean you only go to the bathroom once a week? I'm like, I go once a week on Sundays. It's great. Like,
Oh my
like,
gosh, you poor thing. That's
right?
yeah,
Poor me.
that's
Now I go
intense.
every
Yeah.
single morning like a normal human. Or I used to have, I don't even know how to explain them, but like they were like not ingrown hairs, but maybe like little bumps that I would get in the back in my head. There were like some of the symptoms I kind of forgot until I abandoned dairy. I did a real allergy test, and it said I didn't have an allergy to dairy. So I'm like,
Oh,
well,
that does not surprise me at all. Oh, I had an allergist. I got all the shots. They give you like 100 and something shots, like in the back and the arm. And now I'm sitting in his office, and he comes back, and I think he knew I was gonna be mad. He was like, "Says you're allergic to nothing," and I like pulled up my sleeves, and I'm just like, "What are all these hives doing then?" Like, and he actually did have some good insight. He knew I was frustrated, and he was just like, sometimes hives are a season in your life, sometimes this and this. And I was just like rolling my eyes. I'm like, whatever. And he said, but just because you are not allergic to something, he said, it doesn't mean that you don't have an intolerance. So pay attention to that. And just like you're saying, being your own, like listening to your body. Listening to your body is something that I teach, that I share with other people. And it's nothing could be more valuable. Like listening to yourself is you're so right.
so one of the things I've always listened to, and from a human design, I do have a lot of like defined spleen and channels coming off of there. So I'm actually not, I found out this week, I'm actually not a sacral. I'm a splenic because of those, like it overrides it. You inspired me to open up my human design book again. And that made so much sense for me because um I did go to the doctor once and he gave me the diagnosis of IBS. And that was when I was 22 and like had to do the suppository thing to get relief from like, so you just are like, okay, doctor. And my instincts, and I never know why, I can't explain it. I usually explain it as I'm lazy, I have ADHD, I procrastinate. But like I never filled the IBS medication. I never did went that route. And I had the acne, like a lot of people did, like the retinol and like those things, which by the way are definitely tied to some cancers now. I also instinctively like just didn't want to do that. Again, I attribute it to like, like with that book, Girl, Wash Your Face. I was like, girl, don't tell me what to do. Like, I literally like I'm not even great about washing. I shower every day. Isn't that enough for my face? I don't put makeup on. Why do I have to wash it at night? Uh, like, I'm just very like, this is like, these are my quirks. And so I have always looked at myself as the expert. My mom worked in a lab. So like she would tell me when my iron was low. She would make sure my lab work always looked phenomenal. And when I found paleo. So same thing as you, all my stuff cleared up because I eliminated the shit that was causing the problem in the first place, like legumes. I'm not really great with legumes. Like that's not going to be an area that I can pick up. I do lots of like spinach used to be my daily breakfast, 2 eggs, spinach, bacon. Like I needed the spinach for the calcium. So I love that you gave the dark leafy greens. And I had a nutrition coach who did based on body composition, gave you an idea of what you should eat. And he said more red meat. And so my chicken eating self, who never ate red meat, shifted. And now I'm eating red meat. I'm eating, and all of a sudden I like the taste of onions and green peppers, which I never did. Like I started liking things I had never liked before in the vegetable department. Everything shifted for me. So I very much, I know people that do better with vegan. I think it's so great what you've brought in. I would really benefit even from knowing, hey, what are those other sources? Because what if I give birth to a child who has an allergy to something, and now I need to know what are the things to eat. But trusting yourself as an inner expert, this is where coaches are great because we hold you as the expert. Karen, can you tell us anything else we need to know about, how do we connect with you? How do we get coaching from you? In addition, you're a wealth of knowledge. You're a 6'2" human design, so you're wise. Yeah, tell us all the things. How do we find you?
Yeah, so the best way to find me is my link tree. It's link tree and then it's Karen.Gourley. And then there's links for everything on there. So I've got the nutrition package. It's available currently. It's available now. And then I'm working on a plant-based masterclass. So I actually just polled my audience recently on Instagram in the last 24 hours. And I was like, all right, you guys, because I've done one-on-one coaching before, but I've been feeling really pulled towards creating a masterclass, like an online video guided, like where I tell you exactly what to do. Like not only you receive the nutrition package, but specific instructions for all of the things and in addressing all of the challenges. Like I didn't just decide to be plant-based and then everything in life was very easy about it. Like I healed in my body, but there was also, I was the only plant-based one. Like the only one going out to dinner who's plant-based, the only one at Thanksgiving who's plant-based, the only one that lives in my house who's plant-based. There's a lot of things that they can be so big in people's lives that it completely derails you, like before you even get results. Not having people on board is really a big challenge. And the thing is, everyone who questioned me, I did get a lot of challenges and pushback, like from concerned family members and friends, like about they had fear surrounding it is what was happening. And I had to say, like, I'm sorry if you don't agree, like this is right for me, I'm doing this. And then as soon as enough time passed, like within a month or two, I really started to feel better. I looked better. Like I really started to have all this huge relief. And then their whole song, and it changed
Yeah.
to, what are you doing? How can I do this too? Like, how can I incorporate? Um, so so with the master class, I feel very pulled to that. And I feel like I can help more people to understand and not be confused about it and have a bigger reach. Um, and then the third thing is one-on-one coaching. So there's a nutrition package where you get it, and you've got the information, and you're able to go, like, just go for it. I think I maybe would have been able to. I don't know, because that's not how it went for me. I needed a coach because she had all the information. And then one-on-one coaching, I am very likely, as soon as I finish, because I'm like heads down on this masterclass. So as soon as I complete that and launch it out into the world, I will very likely open up more one-on-one spots. And my one-on-one spots are for our women. And the reason that is, there's women's health is just it's different. And I'm an expert about my own body and my own being. But yeah, I've also, with the master class, I can also reach men who are, going plant-based or vegan or athletes or whatever it may be. So the link tree with Karen.Gourley after it is probably the best way for people to reach me. It's got and follow me on Instagram. I give away, or not give away, but I provide like tons of information on there. I've got,
It's giving away information. Let's call it what it is. When you come to our
yeah,
social pages, you are getting our wisdom for free.
y'all, she's right. She's right. But I give away all kinds of information there and recipes and talk about these problems and like people being confused about protein and what do you eat, what do you not eat, how is it different from vegan, all the questions. So yeah, definitely I'm most active on Instagram.
Karen, thank you so much for sharing your energies with me today for free. I appreciate that. As we wrap up, I've got my 3 questions. Number 1, what is your superpower?
Yeah, superpowers. So I really strongly believe that we all arrive here on this planet equipped with multiple superpowers and talents that are, innate to your individual. And I feel like the one that, and I do think that I'm on a mission also to uncover what these are. Like I'm not claiming that I know what they all are, but I do believe that they're there for me to discover and figure out. But currently, I would say the one that is most profound in my life right now and helping me in my work and to like be in alignment with myself and what I do every day to help people is that I really have a very strong ability to clearly see and hear people when they communicate with me in such a way that I can help them to gain a clear perspective about themselves, about their situation. Yeah, I'm very good at that, and it's a very rewarding superpower to have, I would say.
Spoken like a true projector. I love that. What's your purpose?
Oh gosh, so yeah, so purposes and the same thing with kind of superpowers. I feel like I have like more than one. And I think that for all of us, or for me specifically, I feel like my purposes are going to evolve over time and they're going to shift and change depending, on where I am in life and what's happening. But ultimately, I feel like my purpose has been and continues to be to gain more clarity and more awareness and level up in consciousness. And I will say that plant-based eating, we didn't, that'll be a topic for a different day, but it greatly affects my mental health. And the other women that have also went through with me, like had similar experiences where it's part of your mental health. So clarity and awareness and yeah, helping others to achieve that for themselves too. I feel very, very strongly aligned with that and my purpose.
Yeah. Um, gut brain connection, right? When our gut isn't healthy, our thinking can't also be healthy. So, very true. And what is next for you?
Gosh, I'm so excited about what is next. And here's the thing, I have absolutely no idea. Like, I think that has been very liberating in my life is to embrace the fact that I can plan for the future, right? Like I'm going to put this master class out. It's definitely happening. I'm, going forward with all these things, but ultimately I don't ever know what's going to happen next. And I find a lot of power in knowing that. And yeah, and a lot of peace into knowing that, I'm not really sure. So I don't know, but I am here for it.
Well, if what's next for you is to read my mind, you would say some type of collaboration with Katie.
Yes,
We'll
there's a
definitely have
collaboration
you.
with Katie
We'll
in my
definitely have you
future.
back on this podcast to
We need
talk
more
more.
conversations. We are scratching the iceberg with human design. Like
We
we're gonna dive
are
deep.
I see us helping some people in that consciousness and leveling up. I could talk to you for hours. I will let you go, but before I do, I'll give you the last word that you'd like to leave for our guest today.
All right. So I would say for everyone is to realize that if there's something in life that you want to do differently, whether it is changing your lifestyle completely to plant-based or whatever that is for you, whatever the level up is for you, if it seems unreachable, it isn't. That's just a story that your mind's telling yourself. So what I would say is listening to your body, like we were talking about, is very important, but listen to your inner guidance, listen to yourself. Yeah, be very trusting of yourself because nobody knows you better than you.